Hello, boys and girls, my bright foodies. Uh, this is the second part of the lecture for 6th of December 2018. Like I mentioned earlier, that I'm very sorry because I cannot make it. And the reason why is for that is I am attending this um, conference at the very moment in JW Myriad. Uh, Before that, I was in Cyberjaya, so it's a bit uh, here and there for me, and I hope that with this voice, I hope that I will cover as much as possible for your good. Okay. Now, boys and girls, like what I have mentioned earlier, um, uh, with what I've mentioned earlier, I've forgotten suddenly. Okay. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I will cover on the food quality topic after this. Okay. Um, uh, then, uh, okay. So as I mentioned earlier, that I will cover on namanya uh, food sensory and quality chapter. And before that, allow me to recap it on the earlier topic, which is uh, which I supposed to share the lecture with you guys is on the food safety and hygiene. This particular slide. Okay. Now we covered in the class is pretty much until uh, this particular thing. Yeah. Preventing in terms of the foodborne illness. Okay. That is what we have been doing the last week. Yeah? We are talking about this particular section. Now, and then as I promised to you guys, that I'm supposed to have online what do you call that sharing on this particular thing. So I cannot pretty much cover every single thing, but allow me, my bright students, to at least cover what are the important element in the food safety and hygiene. And that's the summary of what you have to know, or what are the important elements that you have to cover in your for your for your for your exam, your final exam. Okay, that is the most crucial part. Um, is like what I have shared with you guys uh, in the let's see, in my updated this particular thing. Okay, this boost is markets announcement. Okay. Now, if you remember what I've mentioned to you guys in the class and everything, okay. So this announcement. No, this is the early one. Okay. So basically, when we talk about food safety, what are the important things? Now, the infographics that I share with you guys, okay, is among those who are very, very important, which is very, very related, and I can assure you that most of them, yeah, most of them is actually in the notes that you can see uh, in the slides and so on and so forth. But the infographic to me is more representable. Like for instance, yeah, for instance, uh, mm, hold on there. Mm, I'm looking for my pointer. Yeah, where is my pointer? It's supposed to have a pointer, right? Hmm. Okay, never mind, never mind. What button? There you are. Okay. If we look into whatever I have shared to you guys, yeah, in this particular, oh my goodness me, sorry for that. Uh, no, no, no. Just go for the basic. Now, okay, if you guys still remember, okay, uh, when I talk about this button, no, um, part two, oops, what was it? It's gone to the wind. Part two lecture. Okay, now, as I mentioned, we want to recap, review, review summary for food safety. Um, Infographic, yeah. Okay, so this is the first part that we will cover today. Huh? We are covering it at the very moment. Okay, right now. Now, this particular review for summary for the safety is pretty much when talking about okay, when we are talking about the infographic. Okay, now some of the important thing is how you want to prevent things, how you want to prevent a foodborne illness, for instance. So these are some of the infographics that I found, which is very, very helpful. And all the information is actually inside the notes that I have given you earlier. Yeah? But however, in this case, I would say, oh, there you are. I would say this particular, this, oh, that, okay, this particular thing, okay, okay. Now, oops. Like for instance, food safety temperatures, what keep hot foods hot, what are the requirements, and then you're talking about be clean, be healthy, keep it cool, keep it hot, cross contamination. These are five issues. Yeah? these are the five issues which is very crucial in terms of food safety in the restaurants, especially. Yeah. Rather other than that, we also talking about see. Let's see. This is before we go there, personal hygiene is one more important element. Okay, personal hygiene, and this have to make sure we have to make sure that this is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. These three, five, six, seven, eight, nine element, which is very, very important in terms of I call that as workers' personal hygiene, which is very, very crucial. Okay, there is no room for you to play around with this issue because if you did it wrongly, then I will tell you that you will suffer. Your company will get a problem and so on. So please, as much as possible, try to avoid this particular issue. Okay. Other than that, what are the important elements that we have in food safety? Or talking about the personal hygiene. Okay, talking about personal hygiene. Let me uh, that one, personal hygiene. Now, talking about personal hygiene, I would like to share with you guys. Okay, that is now these are all the extra readings that you have for food safety. Before I go to here, okay, I just want to show you guys that there are certain requirements. Yeah? There's certain requirements uh, that, oops, regards to standard food. What are the standard food that they have? Standard regulations in Malaysia. Okay. Uh, interest, food safety business excellence chart. Okay. So all these things are part of how you want to improve. Yeah, and this particular lady here, okay, this lady here is a representative from MIFT, which is Malaysian MIFT, represent Malaysian Institute of Food Technology, which is part of our faculty members too. Okay. So this seminar, you have to like 63 ringgit. You have all the basic knowledge about food safety. So that is in Malaysia. Now, I also shared you in the extra reading. If you look into the extra reading section, um, what I have shared with you guys. Down. Okay, what are the things I have mentioned inside of these courses? Food safety that also I cover is I share this very interesting. Okay, I reckon this is very very interesting. Me, it is very interesting. Why? Because not because I'm studying in Australia, but this is how this is what we're supposed to look for it. Malaysia should have this kind of awareness, concern, and also knowledge that we want to know about food safety. Now, last time we have what we call as the Center of Excellence for Food Safety, National Food Safety. Safety. Jadi, lead by Progina. The center, the national center. National Center, National Center of Excellence for Food Safety di Marizina, located in Japan. This, well, we can be proud of this fact that happens. Okay, this is something that we should be proud of course. Okay, this is a very crucial moment where everybody are talking about our faculty here and there, which is very good impact to the faculty. Indeed, I never say that it is not reflecting on our faculty or whatsoever. It is reflecting on our faculty. Help us a lot. However, yeah, those particular we do have this. Yeah, I just want to remind you guys that we do have this. Eh, what am I doing? X. It works. So okay, like this. Yeah, like I said to you guys, ano pala hilang, hilang. Okay, hilang. Another one. Yeah, man. Siguro tuloy balik lah ya. Now, antara benda yang saya mention earlier, okay, which is we're talking about the Excellence Center, of Malaysian Food Safety was based one time safety was based blah 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 blah. Safety was center excellence center of excellence. Sorry. Center of excellence. Okay. So there is one time Malaysian Center of Excellence for Food Safety was based in FoodTech in FoodTech UPM, led by but those were the days. Now, however, try to relate with this Australian Institute of Food Safety. What I'm trying to show you guys here is that I'm not bragging about okay, with Australian Institute of Food Safety. How? Now, why I try to relate these two segments. One is we are very proud that we at one time we do have a Malaysian Center of Excellence for Food Safety based in our faculty. But then, what's next after that? Yeah, they merged with the Institute of Food Security, and then they are now in the faculty Institute Hutan Tropika or something, which is to me a very false decision done by the university. That is fine. I mean, but however, we should ask this center of excellence, what next after they are given a lot of grants to do research, to come out with papers? What is the contribution back to the community that relate to the food safety improvement in our community? As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of issues of food poisoning still in the schools milk. There are still issues in recently that we discussed in last few weeks about the laksa being cross contaminated, and many more. Yeah, many more. Nasi kandar, lime clear, and all that. Now, the main question that we should ask ourselves is what next after the Center of Excellence was established? How much is the awareness of the food safety in our country? Now, taking Australia for example, not to say because I used to study there. No, that is not the reason why I'm choosing this. But it came across me. Yeah, it came across me. Let me minimize this. Okay, what's next? We should ask them. Who dares to go and meet Projinam and ask that? I will give you a lunch period with me. Okay, what's next? What's next after that? We never see any. To me, I as a consumer, again, like I mentioned in a few classes, that consumerism is a very important element in terms of the food industry as a whole, because we are talking about the demand and supply in the food security issues, which will also relate to the food safety issues. Now, if there is a demand for a food safety information, food safety awareness, food safety excellence in Malaysia, then all the food operators, food factories, and so on and so forth, there will be alert all the time in terms of how to make the services more prominent in terms of food safety. That is the reason why I want to relate it this particular Australian website. Now, compared to Malaysia, we don't have any kind of Australian Malaysian Institute or Malaysian Center of Food Safety that have this kind of portal, yeah, this kind of website that will give everybody the information that they need, yeah. And this is a very crucial, important element because you need all these notes, all these what are the latest updates, what are the latest requirements by the government, food safety courses. Well, we are too concerned about our master of food safeties and so on and so forth, but we don't have this kind of awareness that we can give back to the community. For instance, yeah, if you have any problem, if you have any, let's say, do you know about any of the law and requirements of the food safety? You can just go up there and then you say, oh, hospitality sector. Now, what should I do? You can just click there and see, oh, these are the things. Oh, do you have this? How to comply? How to comply that? How to comply? Now, there is no one-stop center for all this kind of information. And that was the reason why I tried to relate the Australian Institute of Food Safety with our Malaysian. We don't have that. You see, the one that I shared with you earlier is just I don't know who company that are offering training by paying 63 ringgit and you will get all the information. In fact, you don't have to pay anything. but instead you just have to need this kind of portal, this kind of websites for everyone. And if you do have this, then the concern about food safety is very demanding among the consumer. If not, there's a big question mark. Okay, that was the reason why I share this particular website. Another extra reading that I share with you guys in terms of food safety, is this particular thing. Okay, this news. It's not the other one. It's this news. This news is cracking down on China food safety. Vice Premier urge lifetime bans for offenders. Now, oh my goodness, they are very, 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 very concerned about food safety at the moment. China. Last time, this is not a very mainstream, but see how China responded to the demand of the consumers, the demand of the people, and they are increasing in terms of penalties for those who are not fulfilling requirements for food safety in China. For instance, let's take one of this paragraph. It is no surprise that the Chinese government is cracking down on food safety, considering that China has been seen more than its fair share of food safety scandals in the past few years. For instance, in 2017, 9 out of 10 breaches of food and beverage regulations in the Pacific occurred in China. So they don't want this kind of bad reputations being associated with the people of China. So what they want to do is they increase the punishment and so on. And this is a very good scandals that shows statement by the vice presidents that shows how concerned the government of China in terms of safety, because they have a lot of like oops, I accidentally, food safety in Asia. There are 5 issues. There are 5 issues to consider. Okay. Now, before I forget, okay, what the hell is it? Suddenly gone. Okay. Food safety in Asia, there are 5 issues to consider. This is published in Food Navigator. Okay. Now, Food Navigator, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, food is experts. Please bear in mind this is a very, very informative website for every one of us. So I would suggest you guys to make sure that you save this particular website. Hello. Okay. Sorry, there is interruption of the internet. So I don't want to take too much time on this. Okay. I was talking about navigator. Navigator just now. Didn't save just now. I do. Okay, never mind. Now we were talking about food safety, and we are reviewing from China news. Food safety scandals in China, and then we are talking also about the food safety issues in Asia. And these particular articles I would like to share with you guys because I reckon it is a very, very important note that to give you guys to bring back home. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share with you guys this what do you call that link for you guys to look for it afterwards. Okay. And why we are talking about this? We are talking about this because I would like to recap to summarize. We are in the first part two lecture. In part two lecture. Part two lecture. Sorry. 6 December 2018. Okay. And what I covered with you guys is the first part. I wanted to recap summary cap for food safety. Okay. Do cap. Safety. My goodness. I reckon before this, because we put nama protein up, so suddenly dia letak tadi ya. Okay. For food safety, some of the points that I've mentioned is infographic, graphic summary in FB page. Okay. Please review that. And then also ask you to review, to read the extra reading that I checked. Reading, okay. And then I mentioned about what is next in Malaysia. And I was talking about Australian Institute for Food Safety. We need a one-stop center or portal, at least a center or a portal to easily accessed by consumer in our country. And I end up with Asia region concern and issues related to food safety. Okay, and I give you the last article that I would like you for you guys to remember, which is 5 issues of Malaysia, of Asian punya. So that is pretty much okay. This is a pretty much of what the food safety issue topic is all about. Remember to review all these infographic that I have given to you, because trust me that it will help you a lot. Okay. So let me see. So you can just this particular. So what are the 5 issues that happen in Asia at the very moment between consumers? Food safety in Asia is complex. Different sectors face unique challenges. Evolving frameworks add extra complexity. A rigorous approaches to supply chain risk management is needed, and partnering perspective. Different area, for instance, in China, this is a very huge country. Every single segment of the country might have a different requirement. Same goes to every part in Asia. So those are the things that you have to consider, or we have to consider when we talk about safety in Asia. So boys and girls, my bright so there you have it about safety. And I don't want to cover much on the notes itself, okay? Because I reckon that you can read and put a graphic will help you a lot. Any questions you can always ask me anytime our Facebook group or email to me directly. Now, okay, pretty much done about that. Now, the second part of our lecture, okay, will also include the second topic, which is very important, okay, which is we will cover on chapter 7, okay, which is food quality and sensory. Chapter 7, chapter 7, food quality and sensory. Now, why we are in the food service are very important about this, what are the requirements, and so on and so forth. This is a very huge topic. However, I will try my best to just give you some idea of what you expect to know in terms of food quality and sensory. A very broad idea of what it is all about. So that when people talking about food quality, people ask you, is it important for the food service industry? Yes, you can uh, justify why it is important. Okay, so we will have a 2-minute break and then I will continue with the lecture. Thank you. Hello once again. Thank you for listening to my second part of the lecture for the 6th of December 2018. Now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me. Can? Boleh, right. Let's continue. We end up our session just now when we are talking. Uh, I try to the animal there. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, this is the part. Oops. Okay. Part two of my lecture, and this is the second part or second section of this lecture, which I will talk about chapter 7, which is food quality and sensory. All right. Now, boys and girls, I will share with you guys the slide. Okay. Okay. Now, what is food quality and sensory? Food quality, sorry, okay. Now, food sensory is very, very crucial in our field, actually, food service field. Why do I say so? Because most people, they didn't realize about this very, very important element. Because food safety, if you look into, let's go to the next slide. Not that one, my dear. Okay. If you look into food safety, food quality in general, yeah. I have shared with you guys before we go into the notes, yeah. This one. Chomate kudasai. I think that one. No, this is the. We are talking about this just now, yeah. This is for safety. Hold on, yeah. Please bear with me. Okay, food intro. I think this. English. I do a lot of things at one time, eh? Okay, okay. The quality is this one. Yeah. Okay. Now, fostering a culture of safety beyond generations. This is another website, another NGOs who are working hard in terms of educating the community in terms of what is food safety, what is food quality. And this is another example, aside from food navigators, aside from Australian Institute of Food Safety. This is another example of a very good website that shows their concern and how important it is for every one of us, every single of us who are in the food industry to put the priority in terms of food quality and safety. Now, my young foodies, this website, as you can see, is a very complete website. The one in will help. It can be one-stop center for every food industry player to improve. Now, the article that I share with you guys here for the extra reading is very, very, very interesting. Yeah, because it touches not if it's not broken, innovate, educate beyond compliance. These are some of these. I'm telling you, I really, really like the words that they're using here. Doesn't have highlight something. They only have my highlight, the name of me. Hold on, let me see. And that mouse, no thanks. Too bad they don't have it. Why? Because I wanted to emphasize how important is these issues. Educate, yeah, educate beyond compliance. This is a very, very crucial statement. How to say? Oops. Hold on. What happened suddenly? Suddenly goes to this page. Well, yeah. I don't know. Okay lah. Tapos sebab dia dah keluar tu kita ambil lah kan. So, okay, I'll cancel that. And I will cancel that. Okay, whatever. Now we are talking about which one? Yeah? Not working properly. Hello, 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 hello. Anybody home? Can you hear me? Get ready. If the mic is not working. Now, can you hear me? Okay, check. Hello, 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 hello. I don't know why they say that they cannot. Okay. La 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 la. They can. It's just a bit shy. Ya, hold on ya. La 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 la. Okay, what I'm gonna do? Dia ni memang suka kacau orang buat kerja. I'm gonna pause our recording. Yeah. And I will change all of it to. Let me. Yeah, check my. Okay. I don't want to use this. Okay. Now, all right. Let's continue our lecture. So we are talking about food safety earlier. This one is not food safety anymore. Okay, food safety dah habis. Now we're talking about the other part of it, which is now saya try to reduce all the gambar-gambar, all the sharing, so that we won't get confused with it. Chapter 7. Yes. Why we have so many? Chapter 7. Okay, whatever. Before we go to that particular part, I want to share about this can. Okay, now. Are we recording now? Yes, yeah? Okay, all right. Let me bring this down. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my bright foodies, okay, my bright foodies. Now, please bear in mind that these are some of the important issues that they have been highlighted. Yeah. In terms of food quality, we are talking about food safety earlier. Then we are talking about the food quality. One, I would like to emphasize for instance, there are a few subtitles that they have highlighted here. Let me change to this color, like it. For instance, oh, goodness me. Okay, yeah. I used to do this thing. Okay, now. Okay. They said that if it's not, oh my goodness, sorry, I'm very bad as a drawer. Now, what they mentioned to us is, if it is not broken, innovate. I try to make it as a box, tak boleh. No, saya punya video lah. Okay, box. Okay. So if it's not broken, innovate. That is what they say. You get the idea? Yeah? This is what been mentioned by them. Whom? But I said whom is people outside there. They said that it's not enough. But again, in Malaysia, I have made the compromise just now. What are the things that we want to see next in food safety? But then again, in terms of Malaysia, it's something that we have to ponder very, 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 very thoroughly. Yeah. But this issue, this particular notes, yeah, it's very crucial to me. Very, very interesting. Yeah. If you look into the article, the topic is actually mentioned about. You see, yeah, is talking about fostering a culture of food safety beyond generations. Now, the word that they have been highlighted here, okay, that they've been highlighted very much in this particular sentence is beyond the generations. And this is something that beyond the generations is, of course, not my generation, but it might be reflecting on your generations, the youngsters' generations, yeah, the millennial or the generation Y, so on and so forth. So this is your fight, I can say that. Okay, so this is what we mentioned by this particular article, and I some sort agree with what they're trying to say. Yeah, in terms of the fostering, we are no longer talking about the same old methods of how they want to clean, to prepare the food, the quality of the food, the safety of the food in the school canteen, for instance, in Malaysia. We suppose not talking about food safety in Malaysian school canteens anymore. How oily they are, how is the preparation on the floor, and so on and so forth. We should also talking about changing the paradigm of thinking about this preparation of food. Yeah. So this article I share with you guys because I reckon it is a very, very interesting indeed, and you guys can read it afterwards, and you will say that yes, doctor, it is a very good write up, and the issues they highlighted are very much related to every single part of food safety and food quality in any part of the world. Yeah. Now, boys and girls, you can go down there and have a look afterwards. Okay. Saya cerita sikit-sikit je lah. I can touch a bit here and a bit there. Well, not necessarily what I'm telling you in this lecture is everything is correct. But as far as I'm concerned, that is what is happening in our country. Yeah? For instance, if it's not broken, innovate. Most organizations confuse innovation with change. Change is inevitable. The change of the new government, for instance, you cannot change that. You have to accept the changes that have been done. There is nothing else that you can do. But innovations is a choice. This is a very, very strong words that I really I'm very, very happy indeed to see these words being highlighted in this particular articles. Change is inevitable. Innovation is a choice. So it's a choice that we have to make ourselves in order for us to improvise the quality of the food and also the safety of the food for the nation. But again, I question what's next after the closure of the food center of excellence in Malaysia. What's next? We didn't see anything, not even a single food safety portal that I've mentioned earlier exists in Malaysia, so people can come and ask questions. One-stop center. Okay. Now, again, another interesting point that they have been highlighted is educate beyond compliance. We have to kill the idea of we are doing this because will be examined by the MOH next week. We have to comply with that, and then khalas, finish. This kind of thinking have to be abolished. I would rather say that. We don't want to see this kind of thinking. Yeah, it must be a culture in our community. Yeah, So once we manage to change the food safety, the food quality as a culture, no matter you are in any segments of the food industry, either your food safety, your food services, or your food manufacturing, food productions, if there is a culture of awareness in terms of these two elements, we are in a safe area. And then we can call our community as a civilized nation. Okay, that is my point of view. Okay, what else the article mentioned? You can read, evaluate existing communication system. Oh my goodness me. This is what I mentioned earlier. Malaysia, we don't have any, project up here, what I'm trying to say, evaluate existing communication system. This is very, very crucial. But some people rather say that we are communicated very well, we have all this and that. Among who? Within yourself. We are not talking about yourself. We are talking about the nation at large, the community. And that was reason why I would rather thanks the new government, especially Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. In the review of the second review of the Malaysian RM7 in the parliament, he did mention about I have to put the notes here, yeah. Select this one first. Okay. Now the food quality, the article just now, very important article, important and critical article about food quality and food safety. Some of it, some of the argument are in terms of beyond compliance, make it as a culture, compliance, beyond compliance culture. Apa lagi? Jadi kita cerita tadi tu. We are talking about the next generation needs. And then we don't want them finger point to us saying that because your generation didn't do anything, we are in a bad shape. We don't want to hear that kind of things. Yeah, the argument is not right. Okay. We also talking about communication and okay. That is very good, important. That's very important point to point out. Okay. We also talk about talking about apa tadi? We're talking about we also talk about communication system. Where's all my writing? Coba kudasai. Where is it? Okay. Okay. Communication systems. We have not been doing a good job at the very moment in terms of delivering the information about food quality and food safety. And then we're also talking about change is inevitable, but innovation is a choice. Okay, so these are some of the elements that been mentioned in the articles. And one more articles that perhaps the last article that I want to share for this class, for this lecture, is okay. So you can take a look at that. The trends in food quality articles Yeah, this is a Google Scholar. Okay, this is a Google Scholar. What is Google Scholar? Now, Google Scholar is actually let me highlight this for you guys. For those who don't know, this is a Google Scholar. Okay, what is the difference between Google Scholars and the Google search browser that we use? This Google Scholar is emphasizing on, specifically emphasizing on all these, what to say, academics, academics. When I say academics, means very supposedly credentials research lah. Academic research done and published to all. Labayan to. Okay, to all. Google Scholar. So you can, when you do your final year project later on, you will have to use Google Scholar. So this is Google Scholar, and if you can see, if you go browse down there, I just put food quality there. There's a lot of research been done in terms of edible coatings films to improve quality, beyond water activity, theory and application of near-infrared reflectance spectroscopy, effects of high-pressure enzymes related to food quality. Food quality is everything. Why food quality is everything? Anyone? Why food quality is everything? Okay. Why food quality have a lot of research, have a lot of interest, research, and a lot of research observe. You can answer me for that. It's a very simple answer. It's because we are eating it. We are eating our food. That is the result. That is the reason why for all these kind of things. Okay, so that is what I want to share with you. And the last article I will share towards the end of the lecture. Okay. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever you want to ask me, you can just send me email or send me a chat, hang out with me in Google Plus. Okay. Now, my bright foodies. Okay, let's go things. Okay. Now let's go to the lecture. Okay. Before that, let me save this one. Otherwise, I will cry. Okay. Now, where's the lecture? There you are. Okay. Now, evolution of food. Okay, what is food? Okay, now, when we're talking about food sensory, food quality, we have to ask ourselves how we want to make sure that the food quality can be examined. The quality of the food is towards the level that we want. Now, there are two methods of evaluation of food. One is what we call as objective methods. Another one is what you call as sensory methods. Now, what are the difference? The difference is, if you look carefully, it's very easy to detect the differences. Now, the differences is based on, the first one, do not depend on observation of an individual. It's objective. When we say objective, it means, it can be replicated. Using some sort of instrument, some sort of tools, some sort of gadgets. That is why you call it as objective methods. Another approach to make sure to evaluate your food, the quality of your food, is by using a sensory methods. When you say sensory methods, sensory is as a six based on our senses. Now, science that measures the texture, flavor, and appearance of food products through human senses. How many senses that we have? We have 5. So all these senses are being used in terms of evaluating the food quality that we are consuming. Another part is objective. As contrary, it is the tools, the equipments that we are using in order to evaluate to make sure our food quality is at the level of what it is required to be. Now, what's next? What's next? Okay. Now this is just the explanations of what sensory method is all about. Yeah. Now now sensory methods again is talk about using your sensory and all that. It is a very subjective. Why do I say it is very subjective? Because you are based on the panelists, and each one of the panelists, each one of these human being is different from each other. So once it is different, and the result, the output must be different. There must be how you say, there is a curve of human beings. It cannot be similar. It cannot be repeatedly similar. If you are doing that, then you are a robot. Okay, so in a sensory panel, what there are in our faculty we do have, but it's been quite some times. Yeah, the lab is quite sometimes since I was a student here. It's not been improvised, but we have a very good quality of food sensory lab. We have this kind of this. Okay, now what are the things that they look into? They're talking about the sensory panelists are looking into the flavor intensity. How thick is your chocolate, for instance? How elasticity is your fish balls? How chewiness when you bite that particular cheesecake? How is this chewiness? The chewiness of the cakes. How sweet is your syrup? This kind of things is what you call as a sensory methods of evaluating food quality. Now, it based on what? Again, like I mentioned earlier, it is based on our sensor. What is our sensor, boys and girls? Ada yang tak tahu apa sensor kita ke? Okay. Okay, this is our sensor. Excuse me. Ini bahasa, sorry lah saya terkeluarkan bahasa Latin pula ya. Los 5 sentidos, the 5 senses. Los 5 sentidos. The 5 senses of the human being. What are the senses? Okay. The senses is pretty much as what we know lah. Yeah. We have the senses of viewing, mata, pendengaran, telinga, and then we have aler, smell, probar, taste, and pakar ataupun touch. Touch is not by percussion lah, it's touched by the tongue. So this is a proverb in Spanish. In Spanish, what they're saying, not because I love this is the note is prepared before I teach this subject. Now, los 5 sentidos, yo veo con mis ojos, I see with my eyes. Yo oigo con mis orejas, I hear with my ears. Yo pruebo con mi boca, I taste with my mouth. Yo huelo con mi nariz, I smell with my nose. And last but not least, yo toco con mis manos, I touch with my hands. So these are the senses that based on these senses come out with the sensory evaluation for our food quality. Okay. Ada soalan? Okay. Hope tak ada lah. Okay. Now, sensory analysis, what are the analysis that we have? Analytical sensory analysis, effective sensory test. There are 2. Analytical, effective. What is the difference? The different similarity of the quality and quantity of sensory characteristics that evaluated trained panelists. As for the second one, we who have no special sensory training. So this, if in the examination ask you, or anybody want to ask you, what is the difference between the 2 types of sensory analysis? There are 2 types. One is analytical, from the word itself. From the word itself. Yeah. Why the word itself? If you hear the word, I said clearly about trained panelists. Tak naklah warna hijau ni. Kita bagi dia warna skobau sikit. Warna kuning. Because they are evaluated by the train. Kacau lah kan. Diam lah. Kita nak lukis tak boleh lah. Oh, dia pakai ni Tak boleh lah lukis. Sian awak semua, tak boleh lah lukis. Kau lukis kat sini. Sekejap. Oh, tak boleh lukis lah. Display setting. Dia memang tak bagi saya melukis. Tak apalah, awak faham So, if you want to see the difference is obviously the differences that I refer to, that I want to emphasize, is basically in terms of dia masuk sini tak boleh lah. Dia tak boleh masuk. In terms of, I made changes here, train panelist. Okay, saya baru faham ni lah. And the second one is no special training is being. Saya tak kerti guna benda ni lah. Okay. So, kita balik atas ni. Boom. Kita guna spotlight. Kemudian kita letakkan gambar ni ke sini. Boleh ke? Lagi tak boleh lah. Lagi tak boleh lah. Tak apalah. Okay. Yang saya nak cakap tadi tu, tengok dia memang dengki lah. Agaknya lama sangat kan bagi ni. Tak apalah. Yang saya nak cakap tadi ialah di sini. Okay. So what are the differences? Differences that they can clearly detected is when you talk about analytical, is talking about the train panelist. You cerita pasal train panelist. Sekejap lah. You're talking about the train panelist ni. But when you talk about effective ni dia lebih pada perasaan, lebih pada feeling, emotional, preference, acceptance, opinions of the product that are evaluated by consumers who have no experience. So these are the no special sensory training. So these are the two elements that differentiate the two types of sensory analysis that we have. Okay. Now let's continue our notes. Now the general purpose of it is discrimination sensory test, descriptive sensory test, acceptance and preference sensory. So these are the three types of the acceptance test. Tak perlu menggelabah apa benda ni, tak payah. Dia tahu apa tu saja sudah cukup. Okay. Okay, what's next? Let's see. What next? Discrimination sensory test determine detectable differences among food items. Now the judges panel may be presented 3 samples and asked to choose the one that is different. Mana di antara 3 bangkok ni macam cerita MasterChef. So that is actually part of the discrimination sensory test, and it is part of the food quality sensory analysis. Okay. If panel have difficulty in identifying the odd sample, conclusion can be made that the product was not altered by ingredients or process change. Remember when you watch MasterChef, they have this one big bowl where people come, the last part of it who will be terminated from the TV show, they have to taste and give an opinion of what are the ingredients in the soup, for instance, in the broth. Yeah. That is one example of discrimination sensory test. Descriptive sensory test is provide information about sensory characteristics for quality control and recipe development. Attributes evaluated are in terms of adjective, numerical scales. This is a very those five elements. Yeah, taste, aroma, texture, tenderness, and consistency. This is what you call as a descriptive sensory test. Okay, and it is a very crucial, and it evaluates attributes. What are the attributes? The attributes are these five elements of sensory. These five elements of the sensory. Okay. Okay. Now, you don't have to go into detail what are the tests in terms of what example. I wouldn't ask you that kind of questions. Kita Zira kalau tanya kita bunuh dia ramai. Okay. Okay. Now, next. So these are some of the example, the attributes. Yeah. Because for instance, when you talk about tenderness. Now, tenderness can be defined in what matters. Appearance. You're talking about fish ball, for instance. In terms of chewiness dia kan. In terms of appearance dia macam mana? Is it curdled, flat, regular, broken, large, loose, medium, rough, rounded, shriveled, shriven? So those kind of things is what you call as term in judging food products. You can see example in yesterday's presentation where Prof bila Chef Wan complain about the pie which is created ataupun developed using a rice element and they wanted it to become a dough for the pie, but it fails because pie should be something which is strength and have the ability to hold the inti, but it fails to do so, because of the component of the rice itself is very sticky and soft. That is the how people in our field, especially food service people, food service industry, we are more prone to use all these effective punya approach. Not all these gadgets things. We use how sweet is sweet, how chewy is chewy. You have to explain in terms of using all the adjective words in that manner. Yeah, that's the beauty of the food service industry. Now, okay, quality judgment, acceptable. Jika boleh baca lah ni, eh. Now, acceptance and preference sensory test used with a consumer panel. Because you cannot, for instance, yesterday, they want to do a sandwich, but they put it as a jackfruit sandwich. It's a good idea, but are we ready there? Are we ready for that kind of product? Yeah. That's why in marketing, for instance, we have what we call feasibility test. What we call as feasibility. Feasibility test. What's feasibility test? Feasibility test, it reflects on how workable is this particular new innovation. How workable is this new marketing strategies? How workable is this business plan to the community, for instance? So feasibility test is actually part of acceptance and preference sensory test. We have to ask our consumer, if we prepare this, okay, we will give you nasi kerabu, but nasi kerabu will look like a sushi. Will you accept that? But again, the question is, we eat sushi, sometimes we want to use chopsticks. But yesterday, that was very embarrassing because when Chef Wan want to use a chopstick to hold that particular sushi, so-called sushi nasi kerabu, it fell down. So it exemplifies to us that is not near to the component of sushi. So they fails to do that. Yeah. But the representative of the exchange of nasi, of rice, with the couscous is something which is very, very nicely done. Yeah. In fact, when I first tasted it, I was like, oh, it's sedapnya. Okay. What is this? Okay. So that are some of the examples that I can share with you guys. Now, what's next? Preference for certain characteristics may be rated or overall score rated. Ada bahkan biasanya dia akan pakai Likert scales 1 to 7. Okay. Conclusion can be made one recipe is not better than other if consumer indicate no difference in overall preference or is worse than previously. So you have to base on what based on the title, so you can see it is based on what the acceptance preference sensory test among the consumer panel. Habis saya cakap. Sekejap. Saya tengok atas pun. Okay. You are talking about how you want to influence or you want to base the acceptability and the preference among the consumer panel. The consumer panel is who always consume your product. Okay. Okay. Now, I think this part is very, very straightforward. You guys can follow very nicely. Kan? Okay, what's next? Okay, problem solved by sensory evaluation. Fair enough. Recipe development. Okay, so these are some of the elements that you can emphasize on lah. Okay, especially on this part. Yeah? You don't have to look on the left side. You look into this side of the table. It's very important. Is it discriminant description? Which one? Customer ke apa ke? You have to know that. Okay? Because by knowing that, then you are showing us that, oh, budak ni faham. Okay? Okay. Now, what is the difference between, okay, this is a Likert scale. This is a Likert scale. Not necessarily you have to know now, yeah, but this is a Likert scale. I just want to tell you that. Likert scale meaning like L-I-K-E itu dia tambah arti. Yeah? Like is like likeliness, yeah, sebenarnya. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next one. This one I can skip. Extremely tough, very tough. The word or descriptive skill ni. You use less chewy or so chewy, too much chewy, like that. Okay. Now, hedonic skill is this face of pakcik bulat ni. Suka ke, gembira ke, nangis ke, relating to or considered in terms of pleasant and unpleasant sensation. Dia makan yang lah punya product yesterday, one of my PA student punya product, which one number 2 tu, is the fettuccine tempoyak. When people eat it, it was like, oi, sedapnya, ya Allah, nak lagi. So that kind of hedonic skills that we are using in terms of the sensation of the food that they consume. Okay? Ini contoh lah ya. Now, the second part of the food quality sensory ini, the evaluation of the food quality and sensory is objective. Now, the first part is effective. Yeah, it's very analytical. Yeah, tak perlu an instrument. Well, the Likert skills, everything is actually instrument. But what we are looking into in instrument, this section is more to the mechanics. Yeah, tools in the labs. Itu yang tadi for. Advantages of objective methods is of a permanent record because it is be able to replicate it. To replicate maknanya the reliability is very high. Yeah, reliability is very high, the validity is high, so the acceptability of the result is very high. If they say that the tenderness of the pisang is certain force amount, so that's it. Nobody can compromise, nobody can argue, oh, the machine is wrong. No, because before they do the calculation, they do the experiments, they have to calibrate first all these instruments. Machine is remain a machine. They will keep doing the same thing all over again and again and again. Okay, that is not effective. Ya, kalorimeter tidak ada perasaan bila dia menyocok pisang tu untuk mengukur how 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 is the tenderness. Dia tak ada. Kesian yang kau pisang, tak ada. Okay, alright. Effective appearance factor. Okay, this color. The machine name is colorimeter, geometric size and shape. In terms of fruit, yeah. If you for Malaysian best is the quality of the fruits in Malaysia based on the requirements come out by farmer. Ada size dia. Buah mangga besar ini seperti buah mangga harum manis is how much is the size that they should produce. Yeah. And all this is being graded, and standardized. That's SOP for it. Now, for the level of identification for the color, for instance, when you want to export Musa Sepantium banana, katakan, banana pisang, you want to the color, there is a specific color. Yeah, recently, Dr. Nora working with some of the companies want to ensure the quality of the pisang. Yeah? How to ensure that? They're using the colorimeter to make sure after certain methods of longevity activity for that particular banana have been done, you have to use colorimeter to see how green is green, how yellow is yellow for that particular banana, for instance. And that will reflect on how much they want to sell, how much price that they want to put, and so on and so forth. Yeah? Okay, texture. Texture, for instance, refers to quality felt with finger, tongue, and teeth. Because you may expect gum to be chewy. Our dean loves to give examples of bobola ikan, fish balls. Since I was a student until now, he will give the same example. Now, what are the instruments to use this? If you use a texture analyzer, berapa kenyalnya fishball tersebut. So we use this instrument, what we call as a texture analyzer, pengukuran tekstur makanan. Dia akan celup, dia akan bagikan daya sedikit, dia naik balik, and they give the reading. That's all they do. It's actually mimicking our movement. Kita ambil tangan kita lihat, kau ni, macam tu kan? And then it's almost the same, but they use in terms of the instrument to mimic the movement of the human beings. And there is a reading, and the reading must be calibrated before the real reading is been done. Okay, this is a very good example. Instrument text analyzer, this is reading the tinggi, the peak force, how, so the calibration tu, we have to do it earlier before we do the analysis, because the calibration helps us to determine which one is hard, which one is medium, which one is soft, in terms of the texture. Now, this is a good example, electronic nose. The e-nose is an interesting alternative choice, which of often easy operation, rapid determination, and it's helped us to determine in terms of the fulfill the need for rapid detection of blood adulteration. This technology is first being introduced in the food industry by Allahyarham Professor Datuk Yaakob Cik Man. Ingat nama tu sampai lebih bijak. Yeah, he's the one that first used electronic nose in the world. He's the expert in halal. So to determine the component of lard, bukanlah dia ambil alat tu dan show to any types of food, say, oh itu there's a lard or no. That is not the idea. Yeah, that was the wrong idea that I get from my lecturer. So I don't want to give the same wrong concept to you guys. Yeah. The idea is whatever food that you want to detect in terms of the level of lard, the level of kebabian, lard itu babi kan, lemak babi, you have still to take some sample of the food, you have to grind it, and then you have to put in what you call as electronic nose. There is no such thing that you bring this electronic nose to any supermarket and show, and it will beep, 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 beep. There is a lot. No, that is not the case of this technology. The wrong idea was given to us when I was a student. So please don't get the idea wrong once again. So this is some of the example. The reading is there. So if there is a fluctuality, there is a different peak of reading. The peak is consistently with the lat peak apa ni puncak kebabian tu lat punya curve, then we will say that there is a component of lat in that particular food. Still, it will take time. There is no such thing like what I told you earlier. So VTR sensor is also part of the lat, penentuan nilai lemak babi dalam sesuatu makanan juga. Again, okay, we have done the name. Again, still you have to take the food and you have to share it. You have to do all the makmal punya analysis in terms of determining the level of lard level in the food. So that's pretty much of it. So you have to know there is two types of differentiation in terms of evaluation of food quality and what are there. And under the effective level, what are the components that are part of the analysis that have been done. Okay, so I think I have covered, Alhamdulillah, ya, saya dah covered done on the chapter 7, Alhamdulillah. So I will post this notes apa ni, yo gembira sangat dah habis ya. Kejap. I will share with you guys these notes, explanation and everything. I reckon that I have given a very clear given a very clear explanation of what you really need to know in terms of the food quality concept. Food quality concept. So once we're done with this, the food quality, we have done also about the food safety. Those are the two chapters that live together. Okay, I would say that we have done in terms of the food sciences and food technologies chapters for the food industry, for the introduction of the food industry. So after this, it depends. I might come up with another lecture in terms of online lecture, but let's see how. Yeah, let's see how. Because I love to draw in terms of the types of the types of food service establishment that they have. It's more clear, and you can see it more clear in terms of food systems that we have in food service. But then, nonetheless, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If I think that we have plenty of time in the very near future, so I will give a lecture. Otherwise, I will record another section of this kind of presentation. Yeah. So again, if you have any questions, please don't be shy to send it to me, to ask me, but not in WhatsApp. Yeah. Please don't in WhatsApp. Other than that, I would rather be okay with any of the questions. Okay. So I reckon my bright foodies, I think I have covered what I want to cover for today, and I'm very sorry that I cannot make it today together with you guys. So I think that's it. That's pretty much what we want to cover for. Oh yeah. Oh, last but not least. All right. Good. Thank you. Forgottennya. Cucuk mataku dah saya cucuk. Just bear with me Apa yang saya nak kongsikan? Saya terlupa I forgotten to share one thing Now the last article ini kita cover tadi. The last article is about trends in food sensory sciences. Okay. We are talking about two types of sensory tadi kan, analysis. That is what is sensory sciences? Sensory successful innovation is vital, company survival. Food sensory sciences is a multidisciplinary field investigating how humans perceive, respond to food and beverages. Why is it multidisciplinary? It can be from food service. You have to prepare the food first. If the preparation of the food is not good, it's not right, it's not following the GMP procedures and so on and so forth, whatever they consume will be not good. The taste will be and so there is a multidisciplinary. That is the beauty of our faculty, because we are concerned, we are emphasizing on this particular element. So this article actually help you to understand what are the trends. Now, whatever you have learned in the previous chapters, especially the first 2 or 3 chapters, we are together, we are debating, we are discussing about all the food securities issues. Those elements, the food system from farm to fork, from farm to stomach, if Dr. Farid say, these elements, you have to bring it together to understand the food quality needs, the food safety concern. And after this, when you talk about the food service, you are talking about services. All these elements must be in one long value chain. And it must be interrelated, and it must be collaborated together. It must be helping each other in terms of to ensure the food that we are preparing, processing, producing, and serving is all at the level of acceptable level of the human beings, of our consumers. Okay, so with that, my bright students, I end my lecture, my second part of lecture for today, and thank you for listening. And we'll meet soon. Thank you very much for listening, and all the best. I'm looking forward if you guys have any questions that you want to ask me. Thank you, and hola, bye-bye.